Okay, let's try this. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. My headphones disconnected. Right, you might want a strap and you might want a cushion this morning. Apologies for that, everyone. I have no idea what was going on with my headphones, but it's always fun and games with Zoom and headphones and everything else that's going on. We're going to start at the front of your mats this morning. I think this is week 6 of core, hip flexors, and shoulders. So have your hands, one hand is going to be on your chest, the other hand is on your belly, and I want you to close your eyes, lift your toes up off the mat, and then ground the big toe down. Really feel yourself pushing that down. Demi and I were walking a few years ago. We're pushing acorns into the ground, and that's what I think about when I push my big toe down. I'm drilling an acorn down into the earth. And then place your little toe down and then rest all of the other toes very gently in between. No gripping of your toes. Taking a nice deep inhale. Feeling your chest rise, feeling your belly rise. And then exhaling. Feeling your chest full and your belly full. Starting to really ground yourself through your breath. And if you want to come into some ujjayi breathing, you semi-close the back of your throat as you breathe out. And it creates a little bit of resistance as you breathe. Starting to draw the front of your hip up in towards the front of your rib cage, drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Trying to hold that sense of power and tightness in. This is your abdominals working. And you should feel this underneath the hand that's on your belly. And then gently releasing and relaxing out your abdominals. On your next inhale, drawing the front of the hip up into your rib cage, gently squeezing your abdominals in. Holding for 1 or 2 breaths. And exhaling, relaxing your abdominals out. Gently opening your eyes, having a soft gaze in front of you. From here, you're going to inhale, lift your arms all the way up overhead. Shoulders come into your ears, interlace your fingers, and really lift everything with a nice big stretch up towards the ceiling. Lift your shoulders into your ears, rib cage comes up, hips come up to meet the ribs, and then exhaling, draw your shoulders all the way down towards your hips, still holding your hands overhead. Draw your shoulders down. Inhaling, shoulders come all the way up into your ears, really lifting as much as you possibly can. And then exhaling, letting your shoulders draw all the way back down. Inhaling, shoulders draw up to your ears. Really lift with everything you've got. And then exhaling, shoulders come all the way down. Very nice, everyone. Then from here, you're going to exhale. Right hand goes backwards. Left hand comes forwards. Coming into a lovely rotation. And while we're here, have a feel for your abdomen working. So your core does do rotational movements. As you inhale, lifting your arms up overhead, and then exhale, right hand is forwards, the left hand is backwards. Okay, over to the left side. And again, feel for that squeeze, that rotational squeeze. Can you squeeze a little bit further to draw yourself around a little bit more? Inhaling, lifting your arms all the way up overhead. Exhaling, hands come all the way forwards and you're hinging down towards your mat. Hands come onto your thighs. Nice straight back. So from here, you're going to do a little bit of breathing into your abdomen. Place your hands onto your rib cage. And we're talking lower ribs here. So from here, inhaling, really feel your belly expand, come out as wide as it possibly can. And then exhaling, feel yourself drawing in with your muscles in towards your spine with your abdominals. And then exhaling, feel your belly expand, relax. And then inhaling, coming all the way back in. Inhaling, lifting your arms all the way up overhead. And then exhale, fold, relaxing all the way down towards your mat. Being really nice and gentle here. First fold of the morning, possibly the hardest fold of the day. So be very gentle with your body. Pop and bend in your knees, be nice and soft. Make your head really soft. Start to swing your hips from one side to the other. Gently bring a little bit of movement into the back of your legs. This will stretch the fibers of your legs in a very different way to normal. So this will be more cross fiber stretching as you rotate your hips. Inhaling, tall spine. Exhaling, folding back down again. Inhaling, sweeping your arms all the way up overhead. Hands coming into the air, and then exhaling, hands coming all the way back down. And just relax your legs out. I just saw a few people who found that a little bit intense on their legs to begin with. So just relax the legs out. From here, you're going to inhale, lift your arms all the way up overhead. Tuck your ribs in towards your hips. So you're drawing up with the front of the hip, drawing down with the front of the rib. And this is where we're creating really strong abdomen as we lift. You really are generating a lot of power here. And then exhale. As you exhale, really crunch your core in, really round out through the whole of your spine. Do as much as you possibly can with your abdomen. And then exhale, be nice and soft now. Feel that softness in your belly. As you come down towards the ground and walk your hands behind your feet, coming towards the back of the mat. Fingertips are down onto the mat. You're gently hinging your legs backwards. If you struggle with this, pop a couple of bricks or blocks, okay? If you struggle or you've got hamstring injury, bricks or blocks behind you is very nice. Great sensation onto your legs. Inhaling, tall spine. Exhale, fold. Hands come flat onto your mat. Right foot steps backwards. Then your left foot steps backwards. Knees come down onto the ground. Tuck your tailbone under. Draw the front of the rib cage into the front of the hip. Exhaling, elbows draw down in towards your ribs. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Be gentle with your bodies. It only gets harder from here. Exhale. Hips come all the way back. towards your heels. Get a lovely stretch on. If you find this irritates shoulders, draw your elbows into your shoulders, draw your hands in towards your head. Maybe place your hands down by your thighs. We're not irritating shoulders. From here, we're all the way into our first downward facing dog of the morning. And again, we're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for what your body can manage. I really do stress that this is your practice. It's all about you today. So if I do something or I guide with something and you're looking like it's not comfortable, I will try and have a look at the screen and I will try and help you out if I can. Really feel grounded with your feet here. It's a really good position to have a look at your heels, look at your arches. If you press your big toes down and then lift through the inside of your ankle, that should create an arch. Okay, if it doesn't, and you don't feel that lift in your foot, it's not a problem. Maybe your feet don't have arches. Some people do not. From here, looking towards the front of your mat, always with your right foot. And then with your left foot, exhale, fold. Nice big fold in. I'm using my abdomen to pull myself closer to my thighs. I'm tucking my chin in. Inhaling, gently coming up all the way to standing. Arms are overhead. From here, you're stepping back with your right foot. Right heel draws down towards the ground. Get a lovely, beautiful stretch onto the front of your abdomen. Really feel yourself lift up with your rib cage. And then slowly take your hands slightly further back to get a little bit more of a stretch onto the front of the ribs. Should feel delicious. Get a lovely stretch over your hip flexors as well. And then from here, you're going to rotate your right foot so it becomes flat and slightly pointed out. Left elbow comes to left thigh, right hand sweeps all the way up, overhead, nice long side angle. Really strong here, excuse me. And I'm using my abdomen. My lower arm could come out and up to greet my other arm if you want to push it a little bit further this morning. Okay, so my hands are now over the front of the mat and I'm holding. Left hand comes down towards the ground. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a little bit of a pivot and a lift of your right leg up off the floor into half moon. If you're struggling with this morning, a really good alternative is just having your foot slightly touching the back of the floor, back of the mat. If you want to go full hog, lifting that leg, back leg as much as you can. From here, right leg steps in, exhale, folding, inhaling, lifting up into full spine position. Exhale, fold all the way down, hands come flat onto the mat, left foot steps backwards, then your right foot steps backwards. If you want to, you can do a full chaturanga, you don't have to. If you want knees down, go knees down. Elbows draw in towards your rib cage. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. We don't hang around here. Right foot steps forward, left heel draws in. Inhaling, coming into warrior one. Exhaling, hands come down onto your mat. Step back with your right foot. Elbows draw into your rib cage. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. From here, left foot steps forward. Right heel draws in. Inhaling into warrior one. Well done, everyone. It's a quick morning this morning. Left foot steps backwards. Elbows draw in. Chaturanga. Inhale into up dog or cobra. If you need a break, now is the time that you have it because you're coming into either downward facing dog or child's pose. If you're feeling like your body's being a bit exhausted today, it's coming up to half term. It's coming up to Valentine's Day.
Whenever these days appear, it seems to be that everyone gets really, really tired and exhausted. If you need a break,
Child's pose is there for you.
if you're in downward facing dog, you're going to lift your hips slightly higher. See if you can slide your spine almost all the way out of your hips up into the ceiling. From here, looking towards the front of your mat, stepping forwards with your left foot, and then with your right foot. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping your arms up overhead. Left foot steps backwards. From here, we're going to come into warrior one, feet facing forwards. Get that lovely stretch onto the front of your rib cage. This is very much a yin and a yang. You're lifting up, looking towards the ceiling, getting a lovely long stretch. Listening to a book about fashion elasticity in bodies at the moment. It's very interesting. From here, right hand comes forwards onto your right thigh. Left hand comes up overhead. Really nice, strong poses. Anna, just clock your right knee slightly outwards and lift through the inside of your right ankle. A little bit more, heel down. That's it. Really good. From here, right hand can come all the way forwards. And if you want to, it can come up above the front of the mat. So you're not actually supporting yourself anymore. You're actually using your whole of your abdomen to hold your body weight. From here, right hand comes down in front of your right foot. Slide your back foot towards you. And then lift your left leg off the ground. Half moon if you want to. And again, if you are struggling with balance, we're thinking big toe, little toe, heel, draw up with the inside of your ankle. And then relax your left foot down to the right foot. Hands come down onto your mat. You're really rounding out through the whole of your body. Inhaling, we've got another asana. You'll be pleased to know it's A, not B. So inhaling. Exhale down towards your thighs. From here, hands go flat onto the mat. Stepping or jumping back into chaturanga. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Just need to adjust my headphones, apologies. From here, coming back into downward facing dog or child's pose. I cannot stress this enough. Child's pose I find very, very difficult. I find downward facing dog a lot easier. So I know I say child's pose is like resting, but I really don't find it is. On your next inhale, looking towards the front of the mat, stepping or jumping your feet forwards, coming into a seated position. It is a bit of an up and down one today, okay? I've basically done one of each. Right, so from here, you're going to switch backwards into a boat pose. So if your core and your hip flexors aren't warmed up and don't feel happy, feet down, feet on the ground, and you're going to come back with your abdomen. Keep your back straight. If you are warmed up, then you can bring your legs so that they are parallel with the floor. Hands are going to be either side of your thighs. And then from here, you're going to straighten your legs up. So if your feet are on the ground, you're going to bring them to parallel. If your feet are in the air, you're going to bring them up towards the ceiling. And then slowly lower your feet all the way down, coming into a seated position, hands either side of your hips. From here, shoulders are drawing away, toes point up towards the ceiling. And trying to lift up with your hips almost. For us that are really, really short, that is definitely not going to happen. Damien, take your shoulders even further away from your ears. Yeah, you can probably almost lift yourself up. Okay, it should feel really, really strong. Drawing your knees in towards your chest, pointing your toes away, coming into boat pose again. This lovely little lift.
If you struggle to get both legs up at the same time, just draw one. Okay, up to you. It's your choice. Oh, very good, everyone. Slowly lowering, really slow. The slower we go, the more muscles we create and generate. Very good. Coming into a seated position, hands coming down either side of your hips through your spine up towards the ceiling. From here, drawing your knees up towards your chest, toes are pointing away, boat pose. Should feel your hip flexors go a little bit crazy. Legs point up towards the ceiling. And then that lovely slow lower all the way down. Feet pointing up to the ceiling. Well done, everyone. Everyone did that. I'm very impressed. Great morning. That's only 24 minutes in. Nice work. Happy with that. Right, hands either side of your thighs. Really pressing down. And then from here, draw your knees into your chest and gently roll down onto the floor. Feet hip distance apart. And we're going to come into some bridge poses. Got to remember what we're doing when we're upside down. So from here, you're going to lift your hips all the way up. And there's a nice medium, okay? There's a nice place where you feel like, yes, your bum's working, your spine's not really working, your core's possibly working. It's just a nice medium position. If you push a little bit further, you'll start to feel like potentially your back is working a bit more, your bum's working a bit more, and your abdomen is working a little bit more. So choose where you want to be this morning. You do not have to push into this. If you want to go a little bit further, you're going to roll your shoulders under, hands grasp together underneath your hips. And you're pressing your arms into the mat, lifting your hips up into the ceiling, getting a lovely bow into your chest. It's a back bend. Lifting your hips up, squeezing your thighs. This is the yang for what we've done. You should feel your hip flexors start to open, start to lift. If you want to, you can lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting your hips if your right leg is in the air. And then slowly lower that leg all the way down, bending it as it reaches the ground. Right foot comes down, get yourself nice and set up again. Equalize your hips, stabilize your hips, lift with your hips up towards the ceiling. The left leg comes up into the air, points towards the ceiling, pressing everything down into the ground. My shoulders are stabilizing, my right foot is tripoded, everything is working. My left hip flexor is working as it's pointing up towards the ceiling. From here, I'm just going to slowly lower that left leg all the way down, bending at the knee, drawing my left foot down onto the mat, and then gently and slowly relaxing out the whole of your hips. Bring your spine back down onto the mat. Feel spine flatten, and then draw your knees into your chest. Relaxing your spine muscles out, relaxing your hip flexors out. If you want to draw circles with your knees, you can do. Hands then come underneath your knees. You're going to rock and roll into a seated position. Hands come behind your hips. Fingertips are facing forwards. Feet are hip distance apart. From here, you're going to lift up with your chest, open out a little bit. We are coming into reverse tabletop, and I know a lot of people really hate reverse tabletop. So if it's not something you enjoy, you can stay seated and open out your chest in this position. If you want to come into reverse tabletop, feel for your thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, and then gently start to lift your hips up. And you're trying to create a straight line between your knees, your hips, your shoulder, and your head.
I'm getting a lovely stretch around the front of my wrists, in my wrist flexors. And then bringing your hips all the way back down onto the ground again. Taking your hands slightly further back, stretching your feet out so your legs are now straight. We are going to come into a variation. You're going to press into your hands. Again, you can either do a chest opener from here and lifting, or if you want to come into the full pose, you can lift your hips up and bring your feet down onto the ground. Hips coming all the way down towards the ground. From here, you're going to relax your wrists out, give them a little bit of a rest. Crossing your legs, if you're happy to do so, we're then going to roll over your knees and come into a high plank position. Getting a nice stretch over your heels, drawing your heels all the way towards the back of the room. Ah, feels so good. Very, very nice. From here, elbows draw into your rib cage into a chaturanga, and then you're inhaling into an up dog. Really feel for your abdomen here. Can you feel that stretch going on between your hips and your rib cage? Exhale. From here, hips coming all the way back into a downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, left heel turns in. Inhaling, sweeping your arms all the way up overhead. Exhaling, hands come all the way behind you into a reverse prayer pose, or you can grab hold of your forearms, whatever works for you. Make sure that you don't have too big a stride between your legs, otherwise this will be very difficult. You're going to inhale all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge forwards as far as you can go. And you're thinking of drawing your right hip backwards and your left hip forwards, getting a lovely stretch onto your hamstrings, really drawing your elbows upwards as you come forwards. Inhaling, coming all the way back up to standing. Release your wrists because they're quite painful in that position. Turn your hips out to the left-hand side. Right foot is still forward, left heel is pointing out to the left. You're inhaling, arms come up to shoulder height, legs are fairly straight. Tuck your tailbone under, even before we go for it. You're going to hinge all the way forwards. This is your abdomen working as you pull forwards. Exhaling, right hand comes down towards your right foot. If you want to, you can place a brick underneath your right shoulder. If it feels like you need a little bit of support in Trikonasana. So Trikonasana is one of my favorite poses, but I think it works very well for people with short legs. So if you're a long-legged person, you would probably want a brick. And you can either look down towards your big toe or up towards your hand, whatever works for your neck. Honestly, I could stay here a very long time, but I won't. Looking down towards your big toe, you're then going to draw yourself all the way up using your abdomen. From here, right hand goes onto your right hip. We're going to rotate it now, so it does exactly the same move. May have a little look at your feet. I definitely recommend having them hip distance apart. If they aren't hip distance apart, you might want to adjust. Right hand goes onto your right hip. Left hand sweeps all the way up into the air. From here, you're going to come all the way forwards, as far forwards as you possibly can. Really reach as far as you possibly can, and then you're rotating. Your left hand goes onto the outside of your right foot, and then your right hand sweeps up overhead. So we're actually rotating in this one.
Yeah, I just got someone who was they just shook their head like, what? Yeah, this is one of my favorites where we rotate through your abdomen. Right hand comes down onto the ground, left hand comes down onto the ground. Bend your knees, step back with your right foot into a high plank, the chaturangaing it out. Woohoo! Here we go. Elbows drawing in towards your rib cage. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. From here, left foot steps forward, right heel turns in. Inhaling, sweeping your arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands come behind you. Make sure you haven't got too long a stride. I think about it as about a meter roughly between my feet, and my feet are hip distance apart. You're either holding onto your forearms or you're doing a reverse prayer, drawing your elbows backwards, hips face forwards, inhaling, exhaling, coming all the way forwards, drawing your right hip forwards and your left hip backwards. Really drawing the heels of your hands together. Inhaling, coming all the way back up to standing. Release your wrists, give them a little bit of flap. From here, you're going to slightly rotate your hips to the right hand side. Arms come up to shoulder height. Exhaling, drifting as far forward as you possibly can. Really, I'm thinking about, can I reach the wall in front of me before coming down towards the ground? Left hand comes down onto the inside of your left foot. Right hand sweeps up towards the ceiling. And I'm trying to create a straight line between my left shoulder and my right arm, really rotating through my abdomen here. Inhaling as you look down towards the ground, exhaling, lifting yourself all the way back up. We're going for the rotation, so if you do want to break, it's useful to have it handy. Hips facing forwards, left hand comes onto your left hip, right hand sweeps all the way up into the air. Really reach as far as you possibly can before exhaling, coming as far forward as you possibly can. And then that right hand comes onto the outside of your left foot. Left arm sweeps up overhead. Rotating through your abdomen. Looking down towards your feet. Left hand comes down onto the mat. Hands and then shoulder width apart. Left hand comes backwards into a high, left foot even comes backwards into a high plank. From here, we're going to chaturanga it out. Elbows draw into your rib cage. Inhale into up dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. Feels delicious. If you want to take a child's pose, we are going to be in downward facing dog for 5 breaths. From here, you're going to sweep your right leg all the way up towards the ceiling into a 3-legged dog. Get a nice stretch over your right hip, bending your right knee, bring your right knee into a pigeon pose. So your right leg is bent and underneath your chest. And if you want to do a little bit of adjustment, you can do, so that your right leg is almost parallel with the front of the mat. And then we are lifting up with your chest here. You should get a stretch onto the front left hip. I think in front left hip is going to be the working hip that we're trying to open that hip flexor up front. Inhaling, sweeping your arms up overhead, hands come into a prayer pose, tucking your hands into the back of your shoulders, really opening out and lifting through your rib cage here. Exhaling, hands come down onto the mat. Untuck your toes with your back foot. You're going to do a lift now. Hands and shoulders are spread wide of your spine. You're going to lift the whole of your body up and lift your right leg up in towards your chest. Really using your abdomen and your core. Coming back down onto the ground. Right thigh comes down. You're going to lift up. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can come down. What I'm trying to do is give you a stretch through your abdomen. If you need to, have bricks underneath your hands, lift upwards. Okay, sometimes people find this very uncomfortable. Inhaling, lifting your arms up overhead. Hands come into a prayer pose. Tuck your hands into your shoulders. Draw your elbows inwards. Exhaling, hands come back down onto your mat. Untuck your back foot, lifting the whole of your body. Lift your right thigh into your chest. Take your right leg all the way back, press it into a downward facing dog. We've got the left side to do, folks. The left leg comes all the way up into the air, opening out, so your left hip should feel really, really good. Bending your left knee, bring it underneath you so that your left lower leg is almost parallel with the end of the mat. I certainly cannot get this one parallel with the end of the mat. It's not going to happen. I'm more focused on my right hip, trying to be square with my left hip. So we're opening out the front of the right hip at this point in time. Stabilizing first to begin with, and then you're going to inhale. Arms come up overhead, nice big stretch onto your rib cage if you want to. Hands can come together. You can draw your hands down in towards your shoulders. Exhaling, hands coming back down onto the ground. Untuck your right foot. From here, you're going to do a lift up, lift with everything. Lift your hips, lift your shoulders, lift your legs. Everything is lifting and working. Exhaling, coming back down onto the mat. We've got one more of these. Inhaling, arms coming up overhead, hands coming together. Tucking your elbows, your arms into your shoulders. This is my little test, okay? Because if we want to go into headstands, you need to be able to have your forearms higher than your head. I'm just checking to see who can do that, because we will be working on headstands next. Exhaling, hands coming down onto the mat. From here, you can press backwards into a high plank position. Walking your feet all the way towards your hands. Be nice and soft and gentle. Really grounding through your feet at this point in time. You're going to inhale, full spine. Exhale, fold. Really feel your abdomen work here.
Inhaling all the way back up again. Exhaling, bending your knees, taking your feet as wide as the mat. Sinking your hips down into a yogi squat. I know a lot of people really dislike this one, but it's one of my favorites, I have to say. From here, you're going to take your left arm around the front of your left knee, and then it comes around the back of your body. Okay, I'm going to show you with this side because you'll see better with this side. My right arm is around the front of my right knee, but then I've rotated my lower arm to come around the back of my body. And then you're going to try and hold onto your hands behind you. You know, a lot of people are like, really? Don't do that. That's it. Switching sides. So from here, you're going to try and wrap your arm around the back of the opposite arm or opposite leg. Very nice, people. Very, very nice. Anna, open out your left shoulder a little bit more. There we go. Nice work. Okay, relaxing. Yeah, everyone's like, what? No. Relaxing out and coming into a seated position. Everyone's absolutely relieved that I've got them out of the yogi squat. Very good thing to do, you know. Very, very good thing to do anatomically. But I do appreciate a lot of people really, really hate that. So from here, you're going to draw your knees all the way in towards the ribcage. Give it a nice little squeeze, and then you're going to draw up with your head and try and round out as much as you possibly can. And it's almost like you're going to bring your head onto your knees and then relax all the way out. Actually, going to bring a cushion underneath my spine. It's really bony this morning. So if you're like me and you're finding that the mat's a little bit uncomfortable, get a cushion or something underneath your spine. From here, you're going to draw yourself all the way up into that nice little crunch curl position and then relax all the way back down to the mat. We've got one more. So it's an exhale, draw everything in, knees in, core in, head in, and then relax all the way back down again. Now, you're not allowed to use your hands. So from here, exhale, draw everything in, really squeeze your knees towards your forehead and draw everything back out again. You've got two more. Exhaling, draw everything in, squeeze as much as you possibly can. Exhaling, coming back down. We've got one more. Exhale, squeeze your abdomen, squeeze through the front of the chest, lift up and then relax all the way back down towards the ground. Should feel absolutely delicious. I'm just going to remove the cushion from underneath my spine. From here, you're going to bring your knees in towards your chest, legs point out towards the ceiling, holding onto the back of your thighs. You're going to rock and roll your legs in towards you, give them a squeeze towards your chest and relax your legs back out again. Your tailbone should come off the floor. Again, squeezing your legs towards you, really drawing your thighs in towards your ribs and then relaxing your legs back out again. Last one, drawing your legs in towards you and then relaxing them back out again. From here, lifting your chest up towards your thighs, legs are pointing in the air. Taking one leg down towards the ground, but having it floating an inch off the ground. Then switching your legs over. Left leg comes down, right leg comes up, or the opposite way. Switching your legs over, hands at either side of my thighs. Really holding your core, working as much as you can. Nice and slow movements here. The slower you go, the harder this will be. And keep breathing. Making sure you finish on the opposite side. Draw your knees into your chest and then roll your knees out, alternating knees in really large, big circles. This is great for your lower back, great for the sacroiliac joint, keeping everything moving around the back of the hip. Bit of trivia, haven't done trivia. You've got a ligament in the back of your hip and it calcifies as you get older.
which can then result in a bit of pain in the back of the hip. So we want to keep everything moving. If everything's moving, it's nice and well oiled. Okie dokie. And with that, I am ready to bring you into Shavasana. So if you want to grab layers, it's still a little bit chilly in the morning. Give it a couple of months and we'll be overheating again. It's hilarious, isn't it? We're all freezing in the winter and then boiling in the summer. So grab some layers, pop them on. And then we're ready to do some drifting. I'm not a big fan of a narrated Shavasana myself, so I tend to give very small hints and let you decide where your body sits. Ultimately, the goal is to be clear of cloudy thoughts. And while I'm in Shavasana, I draw myself back continuously to one thought or one image. And I let my body be nice and heavy from my head, my shoulders, my spine, my hips, my arms, my wrists, my fingers, my legs, my ankles, my toes. Everything is heavy and falling away from my body. Coming into a relaxed breathing pattern for you. Starting to become aware of your room. Feeling your inhale and your exhale. Feeling the rise of your rib cage and your belly. And then feel it getting smaller. Moving your fingers, moving your toes. Rolling your legs from side to side. Drawing your knees into your chest. Wrapping your arms around your shins. Gently rocking from side to side. Rolling onto one side. And coming back into a seated position. And come into a prayer pose, drawing your wrists all the way down into the center of your chest, and then rolling your hands so that they point downwards. Beautiful stretch onto your wrist flexors. Bowing your head, saying namaste. Thank you very much for joining me for yoga today. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Take care. Bye.